Front Row Motorsports in 2311 lose the Injunction appeal, so let's talk about it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, it is official. It has been ruled on, and the judge ruled that there will be no injunction while the trial goes on for the 2311 Front Row Motorsports versus NASCAR case. So let's jump into what Jason had to say here. Judge denies preliminary injunction request by teams in antitrust case. Update. The judge overseeing the antitrust case brought against NASCAR by 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports has denied the team's motion that NASCAR continue to allow them to operate as chartered teams while the lawsuit is underway. So there you go. What this means going forward is that if this isn't handled before the season starts, which there is a possibility it might get handled before the season starts, we'll get into that as we continue, that 2311 would continue to race as a sort of like what BJ McLeod is doing. They would just come there. They wouldn't get the same payout purse money as the chartered teams. And also it could throw a monkey wrench into, well, if their drivers and sponsors would have to stay with the particular deals that they have in place as it stands right now, which we'll also touch on in just a minute. But let's go to this tweet here from Bob Pockris. Judge denied preliminary injunction for 2311 Front Row Motorsports to run as charter teams / pursue the lawsuit. At this time, plaintiffs have not met their burden as required for a preliminary injunction. Should circumstances change, plaintiffs may file a renewed motion for a preliminary injunction. So that's an interesting tidbit in itself right there. They could, as this case goes on, refile for one and get an injunction the further along this thing moves and as you make more motions and more information comes out. So that's going to be an interesting route they could take, although it might not matter because 2311 and Front Row Motorsports are going to appeal this anyway, but we'll get into that also probably in just a second. Also from Jayski, a portion of the ruling reads, at this time, plaintiffs have not met their burden as required for a preliminary injunction. Should circumstances change, plaintiffs may file a renewed motion for preliminary injunction. Therefore, the court denies plaintiffs' motion without prejudice. However, the court intends to assign this case to a fast track as defined in this court's standing orders. The court directs defendants to file an answer by the already established responsive pleading deadline of December 2nd, 2024. So there you go. That is discovery for 2311. So by December 2nd, 2311 should have some discovery to go through and things like that. So that is a big win for 2311. But let's continue with the rest of this quote here. Even if it is accompanied by a motion to dismiss, the court also directs the parties to conduct the initial attorneys' conference as soon as possible after the responsive pleading is filed and to file Rule 26F report no later than December 16th to 2024 so that case management order can promptly issue. So there you go. Those are the next two big dates we have to look forward to in this case. We know that by December 2nd and then by December 16th that we will have some more information on this case because discovery will have been 2311 will have their discovery and also the lawyers will have to meet up and have to talk to each other as well, and we will see where it goes from there. 2311 and Front Row Motorsports did issue a statement, this via Twitter. Statement from 2311 and Front Row Motorsports ownership. We are pleased with the court's decision to expedite discovery and fast-track the schedule in our case against NASCAR. Although we are disappointed that the preliminary injunction was denied without prejudice as premature, which we intend to appeal, this denial has no bearing on the merits of our case. My clients will move forward to race in 2025 and continue to fight for a more fair and equitable system in NASCAR that complies with antitrust law. That via their lawyer, Jeffrey Kessler, and you can see there, they're not going to reapply. They're just going to appeal this right off, so they can appeal it and they could still possibly get their injunction. So we're no closer to having an answer to whether or not they will be able to operate with an injunction next season or not. And also, even if they lose that appeal, like I said in that previous quote, as this case goes on, if they get more information and they collect more data, they will be able to reapply for an injunction. So the injunction for next season is still not off the table. We're no closer to whether or not the injunction is closer or further away, depending on how you look at it. So although this seems like no movement, even with a decision, it has opened up some different avenues and some other things for us as race car fans to look at. And also now we have 2 dates to look at, December 2nd and December 16th, as we will get some more information on which direction the trial is headed. But that being said, as it stands right now, there is no injunction, and that is a big deal for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, because as we're going to read from this tweet here from Dustin Long, Jeffrey Kessler, attorney for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, is claiming the need for preliminary injunction for charter rights for 2 teams, said in court that without charters, our drivers are free to leave, including the driver who may be the champion of NASCAR. So there you go. Now you see why this injunction was such a big deal to 2311, because apparently in their contracts, they have it written that their drivers can walk away if they aren't a charter team, which means Tyler Reddick, who won the regular season and has a chance this Sunday to win the playoff championship as well, he could be going, if he wanted to, was so motivated, could go to another team next season, because 2311 is not chartered. Now, where he would land, I don't think he's going to move. But you see what I'm saying here. But more importantly than that, not mentioned in this, but where I read in some other articles, also their sponsors can leave, because their sponsors have this same type of contract. If it's not a charter team, or if they don't make every single race or whatever, however it's worded, the sponsors can leave as well. So they would be operating, not only will they be making less money than charter teams for their performance-based payouts where they finish in the field, and also season-ending points, but also they might be working from a disadvantage. Some of their sponsors might pull out if they're not guaranteed to make every single race. So this is a huge, huge thing for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, because not only are they losing possibly sponsor money, they could possibly lose drivers, and they could also possibly lose the money that they would get season-ending points and just where they finish individually in each race. So this is a huge deal. That's why they're appealing it. And also they have an opportunity, if the appeal falls through, like I said earlier, to try to challenge this again with more information. Like if they get new information, they can apply for an injunction again. So this is far from over, but round 1 in the injunction thing is going to go to NASCAR, although it's being appealed, and we're not technically any closer to knowing whether or not they'll be operating with an injunction next season or not. All right, not the most exciting thing to talk about, and although we might not be any closer to knowing anything than we were a minute ago, we did at least learn some other details, and we have dates, December 2nd and December 16th as to when we'll find out some more information on this case. But yeah, got to report on it when stuff like this happens. But yeah, no, we're still really no closer to knowing whether or not the injunction is going to happen next season or not, which is weird because we got a ruling. But it is what it is. All right, that's all I got for you on this one. If you made it this far, we'd love to have your subscription. If not, I'll just keep making these things. If you're already subscribed, you know I appreciate you all as well. If you got a question, a comment, or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section. I try to get to as many of them as I can. And other than that, enjoy the race tonight. Good luck for the Truck Series. Hopefully it's not a repeat of last season, where it was an absolute crap show. All right. Peace.